Well, how's it going, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Exit Realty Radio. I'm your host, Billy Jack, franchise owner, designated supervisor here at Exit Realty Central in El Paso, Texas. Okay, so today's topic is getting your offer accepted. So as you know, it's very difficult getting your buyer into an executed contract in this multiple offer situation, especially if their price range is, a normal size house, especially 150, 200,000, issues like that. It can be quite challenging. Okay, so one main thing to remember is you're not alone in this. Okay, every agent I've talked to, even the very successful ones, they are struggling with this as well. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few tips, and this is from what I've heard. I do the home inspections in Las Cruces, so I always ask all the agents because they have the buyer side, right? So I ask them, how did you get your offer accepted? Hey, and these times, it's very different times. Those of us have been in the industry for a long time. We've never seen an issue like this. We went from a very big recession to, just normal, riding the wave for quite a while. And now this, where everything is just a lot different. Hey, so of course you all heard the stories. They offer way above asking price, and that's the case in sometimes, but also if they're not qualified that high, of course they can't do that. And if they have that appraisal contingency as part of the negotiations, well, everybody will see right through that. You can't offer $500,000 more than price, and the appraisal is only for $5,000 or something like that. Okay, so number one key is what they always tell me is they look at the seriousness of the offer and, of course, the strength of it. So items that really make it a strong offer, quote unquote strong, for one, is the earnest money. So when you have that earnest money, if you're coming in regular at $500 or maybe $1,000, it's just a run of the mill contract that we've seen, for decades. So some of these agents, they told me that they got this house, they got it under contract because they put several thousand. Maybe 5,000 or 2,500 or something. It just depends on the price, and what your buyer can do. So that carries a lot of weight. It shows a lot more seriousness that they're invested in it, that they're not messing around. They want it. So, and then another one is if they're financing, well, it's also who the mortgage company is. If you have something like Rocket Mortgage or these, 1-800 number online mortgage companies, they are very hesitant to accept those because they'll just print out pre-qualification letters and ain't no problem. But when it comes down to underwriting right at the very end, that's a separate company and they're going to just toss it back, or there's going to be all kinds of issues. So that is a big feedback that I've gotten, is that they do not like to see those type of mortgage companies. Also, another one here in Texas is the option period fee. I understand, you do $50, $100, and a lot of them, they're coming in with a lot more than that, maybe 500 or so. I know it's a risk that they might lose it pending inspection or so. But if they really want the house, it's just a little extra step that they might have to take that shows more investment in it. And of course, you also have who's going to be paying the closing costs. Are you asking the seller to pay it, which is not very common now? So they do see those kind of terms. They want to see, what else are you asking to convey with it, or issues like that. The little bit of smaller issues that way. Okay, so and last but not least, what they all tell me is that they see who the buyer's agent is on that contract, who's sending in that form. And that's why I stress, go network, try to make as many friends, get, acquainted with all the other agents in the city, as many as you can, and be cool, be cool with them, talk to them, engage. And so they get to know you. And that's going to come with time. If you're new to the industry and you don't really know anybody, it's going to take some time. But every event that you see, builders events, get par events, anything that involves agents, if you see a realtor tour listed or open houses or something, you can stop by and go visit. and talk to them and just say, you're just previewing the house to see what's in the area for your customers and stuff, and give them your card and talk to them. It also gives you pretty good recruitment opportunities too, so you can take advantage of that sponsorship, right? So, and if they'll remember you and everything. So as you build up rapport with these agents, they'll push your offer more because they know you. It's just basic human nature that you will always favor somebody versus just a name and license number you've never even heard of. Okay, so now for you and your buyer personally, a main issue that you have to do is you have to educate your buyer in this new market. And I know that's real tough. A lot of buyers, they're hesitant. They want to see a bunch of houses first, and then they usually go back and buy the first one that they saw a week ago, or they try to anyways, and it's usually long gone by then. Or they don't want to get qualified first. They want to see houses first and then get qualified, and that really sets them back. So you do have to talk to them and educate them. And I know you're going to get pushback. A lot of these people, they're a little bit mistrusting sometimes on the salespeople, especially if you don't know them, if you're barely new working with them. And so in that case, really the only remedy is that it's going to be they're going to have to learn from the failures. And so you can put offers in the house. You can say, okay, well, we'll put an offer like this with no pre-qual letter and 21 days to obtain financing, whatever the case is. And when they get rejected, or they try to lowball the offer and they get rejected, then they'll see, they'll see that method's just not working, and you're not lying to them. You're not just trying to push them into a house. And that's usually when they'll come around and they'll be serious and, okay, let's do it how you're telling me to do it. And if they don't, well, then you know that they're not serious anyways, and you don't have to waste too much more of your time. This is an issue that, Maria, your broker, that she experiences quite often. She would tell me stories that, this buyer's not listening to me and this and that. And she's a broker, been around for a long time. But after a few failures, they say, okay, I'll let you take control, and, you can sail this ship. Okay. So, sometimes it's a little frustrating. It's a little more time consuming, but that's just the world that we're in right now. And one last thing that a lot of agents have told me what gets their offers accepted is, and I don't recommend you suggesting this to your people, but they waive inspections. So they'll waive it, so in Texas, you won't do an option period. You'll just go straight into execution and write it from there without any option period or inspection time. And sometimes they can still do an inspection, but your room for negotiation is pretty much over, because you're not in the option anymore. So some of them, especially if they're FHA or VA or something, they'll have to have an inspection anyways by the appraiser, which will do lender required repairs. But they won't have a home inspection with a whole lot more items. So that is about half of the deals. What I hear is that's what's happening. Okay, so even the inspection industry has slowed down a little bit, and a lot of agents a lot of my very frequent agents have even apologized to me and said, I'm sorry I haven't been calling you that often because my buyers are waiving inspections just so they can get that contract executed, so they can have their offer accepted. Okay, so that is a bigger risk, but competition, so they're just trying to get an extra step into the finish line with it. Okay, so if your buyer does want to do that, if that is an option, well, of course, that there's a form for that they waive inspection. Make sure that they sign that and they understand, so they don't try to come back at you, and you give them that for your protection, get a home inspection form. Okay, so anyway, so I hope these tips do help you. These tips were relayed to me by a lot of my agents. I always like to forward them to you because, you learn by talking to other people, see what works for other people. Everybody has different methods, and, that's what makes you better at your job. Take a little bit from everybody that you hear and apply it. Alrighty, y'all. So I hope this helped you real good. Any questions, concerns, comments, suggestions, you all know how to reach me. And best of luck to y'all. We'll see you on the next one.